Hello. Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are staying cool. It's hotter than heck out there. Right now, although, it doesn't sound really hot, it's 90 degrees, but the humidity, it's like you're drenched. My puppies are not enjoying this weather. So I see Echoes in the chat, Cremella's in the chat. I missed you last week. Ben's in the chat. Just Tiff is in the chat. Excellent. I know. Ladies, we're talking about men today. I'm very excited. Um, so we'll get started. I just wanted to give people a chance to get into the chat, but it cracks me up. When this came to me, um, and it was as a result of me being with my brother and being at his home and observing the fellas in my life and even some neighborhood people. I I really started to think about this and I wanted to loop it into July and ignition. That's our topic for the month. So hold please while I drink my homemade mint cucumber water from my garden. Yummo. Plus, I have my iced tea, but I really need that water. So I hope you guys are hydrating. I know. Look, I got Biscotti. Can you say hello? Can you say hello, Pepper? He's like, I don't want to say hello. He says, I don't want to say hello, Mama. I'm hot and cranky. And they really want to go for a walk, but then they step outside and they're like, lady, back in the house. Gin and tonic. Shh, Ben, don't out me. Gin and tonic. Hi, puppers. Yes, you're a good puppy. Yes, you are. So, what's the temperature? What's the weather doing by you guys? I mean, I know, everybody's everywhere, but those poor dogs do work really hard, Ben. I'm sorry to say, but they are hardworking puppers. They get up in the morning, they do their business, they come in, they sit on the ottoman, they sleep and nap. They let me know when they want a snack or food. It's only 86 there. And is it? Well, it's a dry heat, isn't it? I hated when people said that. And when I went to Arizona and it was a dry heat, it was still freaking hot. So, okay, it's a dry heat. 97. Tiff, where are you? I forget. Holy crap, dude. Cremel, by you. What does he say? Hi, Mr. Nature's Candy. Always nice to see you guys. Are so funny. It's still 90. Wow. Wow, that's hot. Is that unusual for you, Cremel? I mean, everywhere in the world gets warm, but I don't remember it that being a norm for your neck of the woods. Ohio. Wow. Well, you're hot in Ohio, sister. Heller. Okay, so let's let let's talk about men, baby. Um I the reason I'm bringing this up is, yeah, absurd summer. It's an absurd world. Yes, you are in the desert, Ben, and you're in the 80s, but you guys got kicked in the butt last year. I remember you were well over like 110 degrees. Maybe not where you were, but other parts of Arizona, it was like I kid around. I'm like, shoot, if that's how hot hell is, I gotta make some improvement and changes because I can't go. Um, but so one of the things that influenced me is uh, I don't think anybody I know is watching from my local area because there were a group of people, ladies, that were dissing the men in their lives. Now, Don't get me wrong, a few of them are just lazy bums, but not all. And they were saying how they couldn't get them motivated. And I was thinking, well, ignition, what does that really mean? Right? Because men in general, it's not about not being motivated or not being inspired, right? Sometimes you just need something to flip in your mind. Now, this is applicable to women, but this is really today's focus is on men. And what I've noticed is, again, it's hard to get you ignited to a task or a change. I would imagine that if it was a something, something, something with a special something, something, that's not the issue. Wink, wink. But it's getting that spark lit to do something. Now, what was in the neighborhood was really about tasks and people not, the men not doing them, mowing the lawn, fixing things, just in general helping, even with the kids. And so I wanted to sort of break this down today a little bit. Oops, I got little gnats flying around. And see what gets men focused or decisive or motivated to do whatever it is that needs to be done. So this is not a passive conversation, fellas. I need your input and your help because so many of you, I feel just in our conversations, you're very insightful. And so I think this would be beneficial for all of us. So what I've seen in my, you want to light sparks in the heat. You are sadistic. I am sadistic. Well, if I'm going to hell, Carmel, I need company. So you're going to get me giggling this whole time. Oh. So there are 4 types of ignitions that we're going to talk about. So you might be one of them or a blend or a combination. So when I sort of talk about it, I'll tell you what to put in the chat to see if you're one of those. So the first one is a competitive ignition, right? So usually, at least in my family, men light up when there is something to beat. I can mow the lawn faster, rake more leaves. What did we used to do? There was a whole bunch of things. There was always a competition who could do it better or faster. So whether it's a number or a record or you were beating a person, that's sort of the competitive ignition, right? Well, I'll show that guy. And if you've ever said, I'm fine until someone says that tells you can't do it, you're probably a competitive ignition. So if you're the kind of person that gets fired up at a challenge, drop a C in the chat. All right. And I find this interesting. So I will throw this out to the ladies. I don't find now that competition ever made me motivated to do something. I will say that I am inspired. I'm motivated. I don't know if it's competition, but I can become purpose-driven when I see women do something that I wanted to do, like organizing or decluttering. And they've done a project and I'm like, oh man, it inspires me. I don't know if it would be a competition. Krumel says, well, if there's a hell below, we are all going to go. Thank you, Curtis. You're too old to find competitive. Yeah, as a motivator. I get it, Ben. I think that's true. That's why I was like, I wasn't sure about myself either. I think maybe in my younger days, now that doesn't do it. There is something called the purpose ignition. So these are men that don't move until the mission is clear. Once you know what you're doing, you become unstoppable. So if you've ever dragged your feet on something until suddenly the meaning of it clicked, then, and you finished it in like one day or whatever, that's a purpose ignition. So if that's the case, drop a P in the chat. Now this one I laugh because this is more my experience from the women interacting with men in my family and life, which is pressure ignition. These are men that perform when the stakes are high. Either there's a deadline, it's a responsibility, somebody's counting on you or nagging you. And if you've ever said, I work better under pressure, you're probably a pressure ignition person. So if that's you, put a PR in there. That might be me, pressure. Yeah, I get it. I think sometimes I'm better under pressure because I'm such a procrastinator. And I'm not going to use ADHD or ADD because I don't know. That's never been in my vocabulary. I just am a procrastinator. Maybe I am ADD or ADHD, but when I'm under pressure, even for this show with you guys, I'm usually doing it the night before. I have the thought several days before, like, I really want to talk about this. Okay, now you got to schedule it. And at the last minute, I scheduled the live. I'm a procrastinator. It's pressure for me. And the other one is called peace ignition. Oh, my word. Maybe there is some gin and tonic in here. Peace ignition. So these are men. They ignite things when they're calm. They need quiet. They need peace. They need clarity. They need space to think. And once they get that, they move fast. So Carmel says, yeah, pressure nagging has the opposite effect. I get that. And that's what's happening here in my neighborhood with some of the fellas that the women have in their lives. They nag, they yell, they bitch, they complain, they do all the things. And the men they literally get in the car and take off, and they don't do anything. The women in this neighborhood rule this neighborhood. They are the doers. They raise the children, they do the gardening, they do the mowing, they do the fixing, they do all the things. It is quite fascinating. And then there are the men in the neighborhood that have excuses up the wazoo. So the peace ignition, if the chaos shuts you down, but silence turns you into a machine, because then you're a peace ignition. Karen's in the house. Hello, Karen. That could be you as well, Ben. Yeah, that's all right. And so, it's the switch flip moment, right? The moment that you're ignited. Because every single person has a switch. Men have a switch. It's usually something small, right? It could be a sound, it could be a thought, it could be a memory. That switch, it snaps you out of the stuck mode. So I got it. Remind me to tell you a story about my dad, because this is the stuck mode. So, for some men to get motivated, whether it's a Saturday or Sunday, that's usually when you had a day off and there was a project. Usually it was either a good meal in the morning, or all the kids were out of the house, or there was a song, something that motivated you to get this done. Or it irritated you enough to just, all right, I'm just going to freaking do it. So one of the things that I'm laughing about is I'm thinking about my dad. For years, it'd be like, Dad, we need, this needs to be done, blah, 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 blah. As he started to get older, we learned by observation that when you let him know it was his idea, that he wanted to do something, all of a sudden he got involved in the project. So he, in his retired years, so before that, look, my dad worked hard. He owned his own Italian deli. He was a butcher. He was up at the crack ass of dawn cutting meat. So he butchered the cows. We made sausage. We were, it was all the things. He was tired when he got home. So that was not the time to nag him to say, you didn't mow the lawn, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. When he retired, he always had things that he wanted to do. But if you suggested it to him, if I said, well, Dad, if you did this for your garden and you did it this way, it was like, that was a big shut. That was a hard stop. So this is manipulation. I get this. So, but what happens is, be like, Dad, remember we talked about this and you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z. And all of a sudden he'd be really quiet. He's like, yeah, I forgot. I said, didn't your brother tell you? Because he always listened to his brother Tom. My dad, if my Uncle Tom told my dad to walk across the bridge in his jockey shorts, he would have. If any of us had said it, he would have blown us off. So there is also that man-to-man communication that my dad respected more. It wasn't an intentional disrespect. So it's, men rarely say out loud, in my experience again, right? They don't usually want to talk about stuff. In general, it's like this silent battle, right? And it's not because men don't feel. And this took me decades to learn myself. Most men, in my experience, don't want to burden people. They don't want to disappoint anyone, and they don't want to look like they're losing. Nothing's worse than feeling like you're losing in whatever it is, whatever the task is, the job, the family, whatever it is. But the silent battle can be a sign of strength, not always a sign of weakness. It's cutting back on stuff that might be draining you from accomplishing it. And that's why I bring up my dad, because for years he didn't work 40 hours a week. He worked 60 or 70 hours a week. And it was physical labor. And it was on his feet for 10 to 12 hours a day. And I know this because when I had summers off from school or holidays, he put us kids in the car and I was slicing cold cuts and I was making the sausages and I was serving up and cleaning the store from the moment we got there, which was usually by 7:30 a.m. And we didn't get home until about 7:30 p.m. Sometimes later and sometimes earlier if my mom came to pick us up. Or as we got older, my brothers had a car and they would drive. But one brother anyway, but that was rare. So I would just throw that out to you guys. It's again an observation. And one of the things when I was doing some reconnaissance on this topic is, upgrading your operating system, right? So let's talk about these upgrades because your ignition isn't just about starting, it's about staying lit. I know this kind of sounds a little saucy, but so if you think of yourself like an operating system in the computer world, every habit, every ritual, every mind shift is an upgrade, right? So it's kind of switching your reactions So instead of, let me think about this. Switching from reacting to a situation to planning it. So instead of the pipes have exploded, you know that there's a crack in the pipe, you plan and you fix it. Karen says there is no such thing anymore as an 8-hour day or 9 to 5. My 8-hour day started at 6 a.m. and I got home at 6 p.m. Yeah, Karen. And look, so I have huge respect. I worked ridiculous hours, but I actually liked that most of the time. And I would walk home from work, so that added extra time. I didn't have a family. I didn't have kids. I know men and women, when they get home, your work day ends, but your day doesn't end. You're getting the kids ready for school, bathing them, homework, playing with them. My father never did any of those things, but that's a generational thing. Yeah, I work 10, which is 11-hour days. Yeah, it's a long day. Um, and so again, this isn't about judgment. It's just about talking about what ignites somebody to complete a task. And we're talking about men because it came up in this area. And I watched my brother. He had a method to the projects. And that's as soon as I figure out some of this YouTube stuff, he built new rock walls. While we were cleaning, he had to um, pull out the old grout in the shower that was sort of moldy before his friend came home, because we had to sterilize and clean everything. He also had to paint another bathroom. There was so many multiple tasks that had to be done, right? He's a pressure guy. For him, it's about, so it's two kinds. One's pressure and one's peace. And he probably would laugh at me when I say peace, but when he's building his rock walls, it's, first of all, he's gathering them from the mountainsides that he lives in, and they're boulders, for the love of God, how he lifts these things, and shapes them and builds them. And I showed you his moon gate. It's on my community post. Um, and But there's a method to it, and he wanted certain things accomplished so it would take pressure off of him, so that when his housemate came home, he didn't have to worry about, well, is he going to trip over all these boulders and all this kind of stuff. So there's that. It's also, choosing discipline over impulse. Um, oh, Echo, you're in now. Great. I actually was talking to you earlier, but you weren't here. So hello. Um, and So I think that's, I mean, you know, from a fella perspective, so from a man perspective, what's an upgrade for you that you recently would have done to boost your energy or your focus? Like, are you somebody that, you know, takes time to think about whatever the project is that you need to do? And I'm calling it a project. It could be any home improvement, it could be, I don't care, organizing your CDs. Um, is there a way that you manage that instead of working in chaos? You're like, today I'm alphabetizing my CD collection. Yes, I've done that. I alphabetized my CDs. Um, and I still have some CDs. There's a whole bunch that I haven't been able to part with. Um, but now they're not alphabetized. Are they? They're categorized. So I have my opera, I have my show tunes, I have my Zen music, I have my girl power music, my R&B. So I sort of have it categorized. Um, my classical and they're in binders now without the CD case, because as you downsize your physical space, it's harder to keep all of those objects, at least for me. Um, but it took me forever to organize those things. And again, because I'm a procrastinator. And I think some of the things that I've seen from the men in my environment, so I'm not talking about my brother and his projects, um, but the experience here in the neighborhood, if you berate or put down or make a man feel less than that he's not performing, I think you're more hard pressed to get action out of them. It's hard to ignite their inspiration to fix the car, to change the tire, to do whatever it is that you want from that person, because all you're doing is putting down as opposed to stepping back and having real conversations. And I think, some of the things that what inspires you is a man to do something. And is it just simply on your terms when you're ready and you feel like it? Or are you inspired by having a conversation? Now, those of us that live alone, we're conversing with ourselves. I converse with the dogs and they look at me like this. Um, and today I had all good intentions. So I've had a cold for the last couple of days. And I don't think you can hear it, but um, I had been motivated getting back from my brothers and all that cleaning I did to do it here. And I started a project up in my bedroom with all of some clothes, and now they're just in a pile because I've not had the energy and I've been feeling like crap. And I'm like, oh no, I'm getting back in that mode of not being inspired. I started something and I didn't finish. So I don't have the nag to get me motivated. The person nagging is me. So I would ask those of you in the chat, men specifically, but women can participate, um, or share your experience. What is it? So for me, if you cut the distraction out, so shut the TV off, put the games away, because I'm an iPad game addict, and I freely admit that. Um, and if I set goals, and that's one of the things that I've learned from some of my decluttering shows, is set a goal, 15 minutes to do this one task in that one corner, only that one corner. And it has been hotter than heck here, so that also doesn't help me to get motivated. So I changed my project to the paperwork that's sitting on my coffee table, which is where I do all of my YouTube stuff, and it's just covered in crap. So that was my project in between napping. Let's see. Karen says, I still have CDs because I don't have an iPhone. I am tethered to my laptop. It was life changing when Sis gave you a Bluetooth earbuds. Oh, great. Carmel says, all my records, CDs, cassettes, reel to reels, DVDs, and VHSs are all alphabetized. My photos, on the other hand, are one big mess because I'm trying to digitize them all. Well, so that I understand. And are you digitizing with equipment, or are you just taking a picture of a picture? I'm curious because I have hundreds of family photos, and I've been slowly going through. I'll take a pile, take a picture, upload it. So I'd love to know what you're doing with that, Carmel, how you're digitizing, or if there's some other special way that you're doing it. I really, for a half a minute, thought about sending them someplace. I just don't trust that I'll get them back. Echo said, someone just sent me a CD and I don't have a CD player anymore. Oh no. So Echo, I may even have an extra. I have an attachment for my laptop that I can play a CD. I'll look for it. And if I have it, I will send it to you, because if I have two of them, I don't need two. So let me look. Hold on. So I say this to Echo without writing it down. And I can't remember what disease. So let me do this. Look for CD attachment to PC for Echo. And I'm putting it on top of my tissue box because I use that all the time. If I have it, it's yours. I have to write the note down to remember. And don't hesitate to say, Teresa, you said you were going to look for this thing. Oh, you have an Epson photocopier. Oh, okay. So what you do is you put it on the photocopier, it scans it to your computer. I'm guessing. All right, I'll have to look into that. I don't know if my computer does that. Yeah, you can get them super cheap, but if I have one, Ben, I'd rather her not spend the money, because that's the other part of my decluttering. When I first started for YouTube, I bought all the fancy gizmos to put the iPhone in the little contraption with the microphone and lighting. I have yet to touch that crap. I use my laptop. And I have a little light that I sometimes put up, which right now is in the pile of papers and mess. So I didn't do that. But I have so much duplicate stuff that I don't need or won't use and thought was necessary at the time I bought it. What do you want, Pup? So my boys are having an allergic reaction to something ever since we got back from my brother's. And they're all itchy and scratchy, and no, they don't have fleas and they don't have ticks. And trust me, they have collars, but I've been scanning them. But my little boy is very itchy. He's very itchy. Oh, he's so itchy. I'm going to give him a scratch because I have fingernails. I can't. You want to say hi to everybody? Do you want to say hi, everybody? Yes, she does. Oh, he's like, Mama, put me down. Come here, Lulu. You don't want to be excluded. Come on. Luca. Oh, nope, he's scratching now. My poor boys. Oh, yeah. All right. So, one by one. All right. Well, good to know. And I'm going to check my printer. It's outdated. I just got a message when I tried to scan something. We can no longer send updates to this particular printer because it's old. And I kind of knew that because it's harder to get cartridges. So I'll look when I go to get a new printer. I'll look to see the newfangled things. But I really want to scan these photos because having physical copies, they're just sitting in photo albums or in my ottoman that I don't get access to. And I think I had shared that I do upload them to a digital picture frame that scrolls the photos. And I have so many I want to put up there so that if I can't hang them on my walls, at least I can see them every day on the digital photo. And I got to tell you, even when I'm talking to you guys over on my left, it will scroll by with a picture, and I'm like, oh, there's my mom, there's my dad, there are my girlfriends, all four of us, or five of us. It depends on what we were doing, and or my puppers, past and present, and my kitty cat, past and present. So I like to see them. And, I downsized. There's fewer and fewer walls. And most of the walls have my mom's paintings. And I'm not, come here, come on, come up. Lulu, come. He's just staring at me. So, there's not a lot of room, and it's an apartment. So I've really hung pictures and paintings where there were previous holes. So that way I can leave the nails in when I leave and I don't have to repair them. If you take the nails or the screws or whatever out, you have to repair. Richard's here. Look at that. Richard, you missed all our man topics. Let's see. My ring light on my tripod made a bad reflection on my glasses. It looked like you were an alien. Yeah, so I got rid of a lot of those things too, because when I use my glasses, clearly there's a reflection, and there's a whole YouTube channel on how to de-reflect it. I'm like, I am not spending hundreds of dollars on some eyeglasses. Hostage. Why are we using the word hostage? Alien or something. Okay, what? What are you doing? Yes, CDs will play on DVD players. Yep. I used to have a screensaver like that back when I had control over my screensaver. Well, welcome, Richard. Let's see. Sir Richard, Dr. Sir. BBB. I was in shock to learn, Karen says, I was in shock to learn that laptops no longer come with DVD players, not even a space to put one. I had to get an external one. Yeah, I mean, I will say that, okay, can you, okay, stay there. Oh, now he's crawling off. There are some that you can have it put in, but it's expensive. So I just got the attachments. But that's just because the way of the world now is USBs. So when you're at conferences in the computer world, at least where I was, there were no more CDs. Everything was a USB. So they just stopped incorporating them. And I have an HP laptop. It's fairly new. It's a couple of years old. I'm going to use it until the damn thing, dies. But yeah, I can't speak for Macs. I've never had a Macintosh, but everybody I know that has a Mac, they don't have any place to slip in a CD either. Even most cars don't have CD players anymore, and they used to. My car's old enough that it does. Does it? I'm going to have to check. I think it does, but I don't carry, I don't travel enough for me to put CDs in my car. How do people use these things? All right, hold on. Laptops are now too thin to fit. Yeah, they are definitely, and lighter weight. Mine's still fairly heavy, but I hate phone. Phone or photo? Arg. How do people use these things? Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, Ben. You're cracking me up, though. So, now we have 3 men in the chat. So, just to sort of round out the topic about how men are motivated and more than motivated, but ignited to do things. I think hang on, hold. I'm jumping to the chat. Still have hi-fi system with all the separate equipment. Yeah. Well, that's because that was your world. And so when you invest in that kind of stuff, I would imagine you're not going to part with it. I had a whole bunch of records and 45s from my parents. And when I had to downsize and move, I was heartbroken. There was a young man that was a friend of one of my girlfriends. Geez, what was he, 17, 18? And he was really into the old music, vinyls, and that kind of stuff. I gave him the entire collection because, first of all, I was too overwhelmed to try to get any money for anything. But I hope he still loves them, and I hope he's using them, and I hope, he's maintaining the respect, but it's not mine anymore. But I still had the little things that you had to put in the center of the record in order to play it on a record player. I forget what they call those, but and we had some great records. My parents had great records, but you know, you go from a big space to a small space. You can't take it all. Um, and that's one of the things that I'm doing here now, um, is, you know, looking at an object, does it bring me joy? So that's the Marie Kondo for all of you organizers out there. The other part of it that I do is it really necessary? Is it something that I have used in the last year, or it's still sitting in a container, in a box? I don't know what the hell it goes to, or what it's for, or will I use it? And I am totally, I have boxes that I'm starting to put together to get rid of. And I have a neighbor that will take it. She brings it places. She probably gets credit for it, and that's fine. Otherwise, it would end up in the landfill, and I'd rather it go to somebody that's going to use it. Ben said phone keyboards are made for, itty bitty people with, yeah, forget it. I have little chubby fingers, and texting on the phone or emailing on the phone, forget about it. I use the voice command, and then I try to proofread because it will change the words on occasion. Um, so, yeah, it makes it difficult. Karen says, I wish I had a system where I could play my vinyl. I am having trouble finding a turntable that has Bluetooth for my earbuds. Now, I know they have them. And I'm assuming you've looked on Amazon and just said turntable with Bluetooth access. Carmel says, still got about 1,000 records, 33 RPM, 78 and 45. Yep. Wow. I have sold about 10,000 of them. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't even imagine. If anybody spots a turntable that can use Bluetooth, please make a note for me. Affordable. Of course, Karen. Um, I'll take a gander. There's also something called, what is it called that you can, hold on. While I'm thinking about it, just, okay, there are some out there in the world. So let me see if I can find one for you. I think there is one on Amazon. And so, Karen, just give me a little bit of time offline. Um, RCA to Bluetooth. There's definitely a turntable. So Karen, offline we can chat. I think I found something for you. Um, and all right, I got a dog in my lap. Poor thing, scratchy, scratchy, scratchy. Yeah, I didn't know when he meant RCA to Bluetooth either, but RCA I remembered as a record. Yes, autocorrect can go straight to hell. That's why I have to proofread, Ben, because I have sent a chat without double checking my words, And I got a phone call from the person I sent it to, and they said, "What the F are you talking about?" And it swapped words and meaning, and it could have gotten ugly if the person didn't know me and said, basically, "Are you drunk?" And I'm like, "No," and they know I don't drink, so it's like, but they were like, "Are you drunk?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry." All right, hold on, I need iced tea now. I'm hopping from beverage to beverage. I actually poured a little bit of the mint cucumber water into my iced tea, and it's delicious. Um, all right, so let me get back to our topic before we close. So when we were talking about igniting and what inspires men, what gets men motivated, how men, um, you know, handle these kinds of things. Are you pressure? Are you competition? Are you peace? Are you purpose driven to accomplish? I think that, it's there needs to be communication if you're in, I don't want to say just a couple situation, a familial, friends, whatever it is, it needs to be, look, I need assistance with this project. Are you willing to help me? Because if the person, even if it's a man, and he says he's not interested in doing it, then you got to stop asking because he's going to ignore you and it's not going to get done. You're going to have to find another way to get something accomplished. Does it need to be a competition for that person in order for them to do it? Because that's what, lights their fire. Um, and are you inspired by something else? Like what makes you feel focused to do something? And I'm using tasks, but it may not be tasks. Right, Pupper? Yes. I know. He's having such a day. Um, Richard says, Ben, I have the reverse Bluetooth to digital. Actually, I can send my phone or my iPad signal to my Bose system, but I don't get to play it often with my wife working from home. That's got to be a tough one. Oh, look. Cromel found something for you, Karen. Um, wow. A vinyl record player turntable with built-in Bluetooth receiver and 2 stereo speakers, 3 speeds, $30. Holy bananas. I don't know if that meets your needs. Karen says they have a turntable. Hold on, let me get back to where we were. They have a turntable with Bluetooth, yes, but it is Bluetooth to receive music from your phone, but not send it to earbuds. I don't, I don't know what that means. So that might be technically out of my range. But Karen, take a look at the link that Cromel sent. Maybe that'll help. But it is Bluetooth to receive music from your phone, not to send to earbuds. So I don't know. Um, but I guess I could research that too. Um, and and I lost my train of thought. So let me. I'm going to get out of the turntable page because now that'll have to be a conversation for another day. Um, okay. Um, Richard says it means that you can send music from your phone to the low quality built in speaker with a turntable. Not desirable. Okay. So we've sort of talked about, the elements, the things that would get somebody to be motivated. So what would, for men, get you motivated or ignited to do something? Is it focus? Is it competition? Is it a purpose? And then let me, could jock for an ample that sends to blue, could look for an ample crap. Okay. Well, Ben, uh, I don't know. That's wicked funny, you guys. So anyway, I think that, one of the things I wanted to come away with this topic today is really just to demonstrate or reinforce that I don't think that in general men are trying to be um, obstinate or difficult when it comes to trying to accomplish something or get lit up about something or ignited. I think it does come down to is it a priority for you? And then if it is a priority for you, how do you move forward? If it's not a priority for you, but it is companionable, so something that is for someone else, what would inspire you to do it? Purpose, yes, for Richard. He says competition, no, not anymore. But I'm closing in on 60. But yes, so we talked about that. Ben actually mentioned that earlier too. Competition's not so sparked up. Oh yes, I saw that Lakeside Laura had a meditation today. I didn't get to it. Um, I was preparing the dog's dinner, and I completely spaced out. What were they getting sparked up? Um, but competition was probably for the younger days, but for today, mostly it's either purpose or I forgot my other things. It was competition, it was purpose, it was peace, and it was pressure. And, you know, so you should be able to send a link, Ben. In the chat, you're not able to? Hold, please. Why can't Ben send? Hold on, hang on. Um, Hang on, everybody. Oh, Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama. Okay, Ben Bacon Bits. You should be able to put a link in now, Ben. I hope. I made him a mod. He's there now. So you can put the link in, Ben, so that she can get it. Ben isn't blue. All righty. I think I fixed the problem. He should be blue now. I don't know if it takes a long time for it to. Okay. Did it work, Ben? Okay. So we're close to the end. Um, and I want to give Ben a chance to. Oh, he's a Smurf now, too. Okay. And now I've got little gnats flying at me. Um, so, Ben, put it in the chat so she doesn't learn it, so she doesn't lose it. You did not hijack the chat. Oh, the link is too long. Well, that's a personal problem. But he's motivated. See, he's ignited. He's helping. Um, so we'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully, I'll be over this cough or cold. I'm feeling a little scratchy, so I hope I don't sound too nasally. Earlier in the morning, I sounded like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, um, and so there you go. Um, Today's Tuesday, so thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for participating. Um, I'm a fan of men, so I want to raise up the profile and not always be like, well, why don't they do anything? Because I don't feel it's that simple. I think that we all are motivated in different ways, and this conversation that I was having with the neighbors and watching and witnessing what my brother was doing and how he got ignited um, uh, was just sort of inspired me to think, what do men think? And hey, what the hell do I know? But I think because I have exposure, I have an opinion. So I wanted to share it with you guys. Um, but anyway, so thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving a thumbs up. Um, Liking and subscribing is very helpful. Those of you on the replay, thank you very much for being here and thank you for watching. Send a comment because I always read them. And until I see you on Thursday, may you be blessed, filled with love, with light, with healing, with compassion, with patience, and filled with laughter and giggles and joy. So until I see you guys on Thursday, be well, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. May you be blessed.